Welcome in and under fans to how you going? to another special episode of the podcast.
Indeed.
Thanks, mate, for your help. Yeah.
Guest number 2.
Guest number 2.
And a special guest, might we add. We don't say that to everyone.
No, we said it to Sam.
That is everyone.
But he was our first guest. Yeah. And it's actually surprising that we made it to the second one, right?
Yeah. Congrats, man.
No, thank you. Our second guest today, we've actually tried to get him on the pod for a few years. I think we finally nagged him to the point where he just had to say yes to shut us up. He needs no introduction, but because this is a podcast, we're going to introduce him. I feel like,
correct.
Yeah, you have to do that. I actually don't have any notes here. His name's Dimitri. Last name's Toumpas.
Can we call you Jimmy?
Yes.
Hi, Jimmy. Jimmy's got, fuck, there's quite a rap sheet here. Jimmy's played for Port Adelaide. He's played for Melbourne. He's played for the Woodville West Torrens. He has a golf handicap of, what's your handicap?
14.2.
14.2 handicap.
Oh.
Member at the Grange Golf Club. He is Greek Cypriot icon.
Star sign?
Star sign.
Capricorn.
Oh, great star sign.
Capricorn. Have we missed anything, Jimmy?
I don't know. You're doing the intro.
That's all I got here. That is pretty extensive. But no, thank you, Jimmy. Welcome to the Another Podcast. Are you excited to be here?
I'm very excited to be here. I am excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. Like I said, it's been a long time in the making. And
for what reason?
Well, I don't know if you actually want to bring that up. Because
can I bring it up?
Yeah, you absolutely can.
Well, I was both your biggest supporters in your infancy of
you were
In and Under, and listening to episode, I don't know, somewhere between 2 and 4.
3.
There you go. I was bang on. It was somewhere in between. It was number 3. You guys start talking shit about me.
To be fair, I don't think we slagged you that early.
Yeah, well, whenever it was, it was early. It was in your first handful of interviews, podcast, sorry. And I hear my name being spoken about in a slanderous way, and I didn't appreciate it.
It's not like us to name drop so early on either.
Look, and I appreciate what you're saying, and I'm sorry, but I actually don't remember what it was.
Well, let's go back and listen to your listeners. They can maybe just tune back in and let us know how that plays out.
I feel like it was lighthearted though.
Oh, of course.
And I feel like there's been other times where we've pumped you up, no?
I stopped listening after that, mate. So.
Well, that sounds like a you problem. But
this really challenges any publicity is good publicity, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Sounds like we lost one early.
Today's the makeup day, though, isn't it? We're going to pump you up a lot.
Thanks,
today.
Mate, I appreciate it.
Just because of that. So whatever we say in the past is the past. Obviously, you don't need an introduction in footy circles in South Australia. You've done a lot here, mate. And we're going to speak mostly about your career in footy today and also other things. So I think the best thing to start this is, can you tell us what started your interest in footy? I know that your dad came from Brisbane, so not really a footy state.
No.
And he is Greek.
Yes.
And then soccer. He played soccer growing up. So why footy pretty much?
I originally started playing soccer because Dad played soccer. He was from Queensland, which is originally a rugby state. He played soccer when he was younger and was quite handy. He was in the Queensland state team as a junior, as a goalkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
That explains why he was handy.
There you go. Good job. Jesus, it's going to be a long interview. No. So I played soccer and then I went to West Beach Primary and all my mates were playing footy. So I was 5 or 6 and I wanted to play footy to be with my mates. I enjoyed soccer, but I wanted to be with my mates. So got taken out to Lockley's Footy Club in their Auskick program when I was, I think, 5 or 6 and played under 8s with my brother.
Yeah.
And I think ever since that moment, I just loved football. It was far more combative than what soccer was. I was with my friends and that sort of triggered the love for the game.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I know cricket was a big sport for you earlier on and sort of became
we're going there already.
and sort of became a non-option at a significant part of your life. I was just wondering if we want to get into that.
I was never any good at cricket, Carmen. You know this.
Yeah, I was wondering if we could talk more
I was a
about
specialist fielder. That was my ability. But the story you're referring to, is that where you want to go?
I want to bring this up because I feel like it's a fair indication of our relationship and how we came to be mates. So I feel like there were two Goliaths in Adelaide at the time in the sporting.
You're the smallest Goliath ever, by the way.
To be fair, at that age, I was a Goliath.
You were a normal sized human being.
I was
appropriate to your age.
I was very appropriate to my age.
Yeah,
right.
And
I believe you.
There was this random cricket game where
West Beach versus Grange.
West still remembers that, obviously. Crucial time in his life, where these two Goliaths met, right? and a great friendship and rivalry started from there.
Yeah.
And because Jimmy never been challenged his whole life. West Beach wasn't really a sports school. So he got away with being, I'm speaking subjectively. I feel like he got away with it mostly for being at West Beach. But I came from like a real sporty school, Grange Primary, and I was like the big dog.
Big fish, small pond.
So he never had that clash. He never had that competition until he met me on the cricket field. He was on 48. I remember it. And no one had ever seen that before at our level. Right? And I remember rocking up going, fuck, this guy's pretty sick. And he was just spanking everything. There was no technique. He was just launching everything.
Very sound, excuse me.
He was just launching everything. And I was just like, I've got to put this guy in his place. And I read him. I'm like, he's going to have a sweep. He's going to launch it for six.
You were a fielder and you were putting him in his place.
I was a specialist fielder as well.
That's all good for.
But I thought, I need to put this guy in his place. I sat myself right on the line and he hit it up perfectly into my hands. And I can still remember it vividly, like how upset he was. He was like, he spat the dummy, threw his bat, walked off, and I just went,
I didn't throw a bat.
Nah, he didn't. But I need a bit of charm on the pod.
Bit of mayo on it.
But I think he wanted to.
Right.
If he didn't
Well,
have
I'd
the
never
grace
made 50
and
before.
compassion.
I think we were in year 7 at the time. I knew I wasn't going to have an opportunity to do it again. And it was from a high score ever.
I cannot believe we've started this episode like this. Of all the things to talk about.
I had to.
Do you want to talk about your relationship with Jimmy? Is that actually where you first met?
That was
our first interaction.
Met. Yeah. But we didn't speak after that for about a year until we went to high school together.
Yeah.
But that was where I remember seeing him at high school going, fuck, I caught you out in 48, you shit cunt. And that's it. And then
had we played against each other, Lockleys versus Seaton by that point?
Nah, because we were different age groups.
Yeah.
So we never played against each other before we played together footy.
Right.
And we'll get more into that.
Yeah.
Moving forward. So I guess we've gotten a general understanding of how your footy career started.
Yep.
And it was off the Carmen caught me out at 48. I need to really drive myself into something professional.
Yep.
And fulfilling here.
Yeah,
that's my question. Would you say that I was the Cadillac? the catalyst for your like sporting career and your work ethic? Because that's what I want.
You were the catalyst for me hating Croatians, for sure.
Reasonable.
Fair enough.
No, you weren't the catalyst for me. My football journey.
That's a joke.
I do have one to pitch in it.
Go on.
Were you always a step above in terms of an athlete, like at school and growing up, or did that come later?
At primary school, I was always better than others. Although I tried really hard. You could call me a try hard. But I did. I took sport really, really seriously ever since I can remember. So primary school, I made under 12 state football. I made all the rep teams you could make up until a point. But then I got to high school and I don't know if we'll get into this part, but I missed the year 8 A team. Year 8A, 8As, I got picked for the 8Bs team. And I was by no means at that point like a good player. I should have been in 8As, but like I was not a standout player. I was not in the top 10 for our age group.
Did I make that 8As team?
You did,
Yeah,
Carmen. You did. There was some
Enough for
people
you.
in that 8As team that probably shouldn't have made it that we can definitely go through. But at that point, I'd always been like the better player. And then I didn't get picked and I was like, oh, that's so unusual. What the hell was going on here? And then I was just okay. It wasn't until sort of probably 16 where I became the better kid again. And that only lasted for a couple of years until you sort of get drafted. But yeah, it was funny. Like now thinking about it, I was good up until sort of 12, 13. And then I was sort of just like one of the okay kids, but probably above average until about 16, 17. Yeah.
When did AFL become a genuine option, like making the AFL?
Yeah.
When were you like, I think I can do this?
Can we? Yeah. Before he answers that, I just want to, because that is a really interesting question, but I want to build into that a little bit because I feel like there's a real story behind your meteoric rise. Correct?
Yeah.
But before I touch on that, I just want to, because I think this is, for me, is really like, you were, I was joking before about me being a catalyst, obviously, but growing up and playing with you, like especially throughout our school lives, like seeing your work ethic in particular and your self-discipline, like that is something that really you were miles apart from everyone else. And that was something I looked at, and probably at the time I thought it was like, oh, he's missing out on all the fun we're having at parties and stuff, because whenever we had a party, you never elected to drink, you're always doing the right things and that. And I thought, oh, he's missing out on that. But like looking back on that, I'm like, fuck, the dedication it would have took to be in that sort of mindset at that age with all the pressures around you from your friends and stuff is incredible. Like, I don't know how to ask this, but it's like, where did you see that as like, this is something I really need to do to take the next step in my
Was it even conscious that?
Yeah. I don't think it was conscious up until I was probably 15, 16. That's when it became like a decision. Up until that point, like I said before, I just took sport really seriously. My old man and mum were like to remain to this day the hardest working people I know. So I've sort of instilled in me from a young age. But my old man never, not to say that my mum doesn't either, but dad is not a big alcohol person at all. Like not at all. So the alcohol side of things never really, it never meant enough to me to go out, you know, when we were able to drink or close to being able to drink, because dad never showed me that or resembled that. So alcohol for me was never really a big deal. But up until 16, I just, took sport really seriously, tried hard, because that was what was resembled to me. And that came with, you know, decisions of not going to parties or just, you know, getting an early night and doing recovery and all those sorts of things. But I think at 16, and the catalyst sort of like the big conscious decision was missing the under 16 state team. So there's under 12s. I think in South Australia, you don't have another state team until under 16s. And like all my mates who are a year older than me made that team. So when I was an under 16, I was so excited to hopefully play that. And like I said before, I wasn't a standout player at that point. So I was never on lock, and I probably knew that, but I just thought all the people around me were playing in this team. Surely I'll get picked. And I didn't. And I remember going home and like bawling my eyes out to dad and and him just saying like, oh, you've got a decision to make now. You can either suck it up and, you know, and that's what it'll be. Like, you can just have fun with your footy and, you know, do your best and hopefully you get drafted, or you can just be the hardest working person ever. And that's what that's all dad knew. Dad didn't know footy. He didn't come from football. He was rugby and soccer. So all dad knew was work hard. And that's sort of all the feedback I got from like under 8s to under 16s at that point in time was I'd never talk tactics or running patterns or whatever. Dad would just be like, I don't think you worked hard enough today. And he'd base my game around that.
Yeah, right.
So that's all the feedback I ever got from dad. So I just tried to be the hardest working person. I think naturally I was always fit, so I was able to do it. But, you know, on game day, it's obviously a choice. So I missed that under 16 state team and I probably sulked it up for a week or so, and then watched the boys go off and play their carnival. And then that pre-season, I just worked as hard as anybody. Like I can guarantee there's no 16-year-old kid in Australia who worked harder than me. And I got the results from it too, like the consecutive years post that. But there was no one that worked harder than me.
Yeah, and I can vouch for that. I'm trying to keep up with
Not
it.
even Carmen.
Well, Carmen wasn't the hardest worker. That's
No,
from
but
a football sense.
It's just funny though. Like, it's really interesting because I feel like we had like not the exact identical upbringing.
We played in all the same teams.
Yeah, and we had very similar upbringings.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you know, coming from sort of similar backgrounds. And my dad was very much, you need to work hard, you need to do this. But I wonder why that worked on you. And then, I mean, it'd be a number of reasons, but it is interesting to see that it really stuck with you.
Yeah, I specifically remember that night where I was on my mum and dad's bed just crying, and dad and I think I needed it. He could have easily just been like, it's okay, you'll be okay. But I think he knew I needed some tough love at that point in time, and it worked. Yeah.
But no, like, honestly, I have so much respect for continually throughout your career, like your work ethic and standards. It's been, yeah.
Yeah, it certainly worked for me at that point in time. I think upon reflection, it was one of my biggest downfalls when I got into my AFL career, which I'm sure we'll get to.
We will get to that.
But yeah, leading up until that point, I just knew that's what set me apart, particularly before I got drafted in those couple of years. And then, I go on to make the under 18 state team, 6 months later as a bottom age, which is like really difficult to do. And then captain the state team 2 years later. So a lot happened in the space of 2 years, but it was that missing that under 16 state team, which was the catalyst to me getting drafted and going high in the draft.
Yeah. Well, do you want to ask your question now? I feel like that's a good spot there.
Yeah. So I guess when was it a reality, or not a reality, but a genuine goal for you?
Yeah. I mean, it was a goal for me probably when under 12 state team, you're like, oh, how cool is this? I want to play AFL football. Like every under 12s kid playing footy thinks that way. So it's definitely not groundbreaking at all. Under 16s, like I'd played for Eagles in all their rep teams and was in the best players most weeks. So I was always like, I knew I was good. But then I missed the under 16 state team. I'm like, oh, maybe I'm not that good. Like clearly I'm not that good. It wasn't until I started my bottom age under 18s. So I think we're in year 11 at this point, or year 10. Dad didn't let me play first 18s in year 10 because he thought I was too young for it.
Right.
So I played 10As, and a lot of our mates were playing first 18s at that point in time. There's a number of us that weren't, but I wasn't allowed to play. And then year 11 was my bottom age under 18s year, and I the first 3 or 4 rounds in under 18s, like I took the piss. I was averaging like 40 odd touches, and I started getting some like media attention. It was really unusual because that year was the GWS or Gold Coast, one of the two. They're sort of under 17 zone selections. So they could have a few players. So for some bottom age players, there was some accessibility to under 17s. So I started getting some attention there, and that's when I thought, this could be a possibility. Like I always wanted it, but that sort of month or two early in that year was like, oh shit, this could actually be real. And then I missed the first cut for the under 18 state team, but then I got a call to come in as a bottom age late in the piece and ended up playing all the carnival games as an under 18 in the under 18 team. So I think that moment was like, oh wow, like this is actually a possibility here. And then sort of the working harder than everybody else sort of kicked up a gear, but I'd already had the base behind me and the sort of good habits behind me where I wasn't going to parties, and if we went to the movies on a Friday night, I'd bring my own like dinner and the boys would take the piss out of me, but I think I was just so focused on that that I didn't really care at that point in time. I mean, I probably overcorrected, like I went too far, and certainly probably learned that lesson when I got into the system. But yeah, probably when I was 16, 17 is when I thought like I'm actually a chance here to get drafted.
Wow.
Yeah, that's and I remember like watching all that unfold, and I don't know if this was like just from an outside perspective, but like being your mate and being with you in year 12 in that year. And I know we had another mate, Matthew McDonough, who got drafted in the same draft as you. As like mates of both of you, it was weird, and I reckon other people would have had the same inkling as I did, but Plug was the hot property then. Like Plug was the one where we're like, he's definitely getting drafted.
Well, Plug he's the most naturally talented player I've played with.
Yeah.
Like absolute freak, left foot, right foot, clean. Could almost do anything on a footy field
100%.
from a football sense. And Plug would not mind me, like Matthew wouldn't mind me saying, like, he wasn't the most physically able person out there. Wasn't the fittest. He was quick, but just from a football sense, he was the most pure footballer we've ever played with. But
IQ,
he always got,
as well. And
yeah,
skill.
100% smartest guy ever. So yeah, I was always probably sitting in his shadow to some degree, but it wasn't until, and he made the state team as a bottom age when we were 17. Before I did, he was picked in the initial squad. I came in late, but then 12 months later, when I was his captain in the state team. So that's when it sort of switched over. But Plug coming up from like under 12s, he was in under 12 state team as well. I think he was a captain. He was always the guy.
Yeah. And this is what was so interesting, and particularly like that last maybe 6 months. Like, it could be wrong, the timeline, but it felt like that was like where just this attention for you just blew up. It was just like, fuck, this Jimmy guy is going to go top 10, like out of nowhere. Did it feel like that for you?
Yeah, I think when you're in the moment, you sort of just go with it and you don't really think about it. But 2011 was my bottom age under 18 year, and I played a couple of Sandford League games. And for a 17-year-old, like not even a top age 18, for a 17-year-old to play Sandford League is like a big deal. Like
massive.
James H did it. And I think, prior to that, I had some interest from AFL clubs, played the state carnival, played some reserves football, played well, and then got my Sandford League opportunity in like the last round of the season in 2011 and played well, and then got dropped for the first final, and then came in, played the prelim, played the grand final in 2011, and we won. And I think that's when everything blew up. Like a 17-year-old in South Australia playing Sandford League football in a grand final is a big deal. So I think that's when the media attention blew up. Like, I was on Channel 7 and Channel 9 like quite often. But I think for me, what sort of helped me be grounded was I'd always had that stable base of like, just I've worked hard. I sort of deserve it. I feel like I deserve this. I've worked hard enough to do this. Like, just keep riding the train of work ethic and you'll be okay. And I think I had mum and dad sort of keeping me grounded as well. But yeah, there was definitely a shift midway through 2011 where it's like, Jimmy's a good player, to like, he's either going to be in this mini draft, and there's only 2 players in the mini draft, or he's going to go top 10 next year. Like, that's a big deal.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. And it was interesting to be like around that as that was happening. As a friend, it was really exciting. I want to touch on quickly, there was a game at first 18s level. It feels like a myth because we talk about it and we pump it up. But is there any like...
Oh, wait, St. Peter's?
Was it? I can't remember who it was.
I'm thinking about when you went for a specky and I just floated across.
Yeah, we can talk about that. I was known as a high flyer.
You actually were.
Yeah, I used to take speckies. That was my thing. I couldn't do anything else.
I know that.
And I'd probably have like 10 attempts a game and maybe take one every 10 games. But
you were the unrealistic. You were the reason that was bought.
Yeah, legit. But there was this one game where I went up for this hanger and it felt like I was up there. Like, I was like, this is going to be amazing. I remember in my head, I was like, fuck, I'm going to get cheers and everything. And as the ball's coming to my hands, I see this other pair of hands just in front of me.
Just floating across.
In front and just take the mark. And it's this bloke. And he didn't even jump.
I think in reflection, you probably weren't that high.
I don't think I was.
Because I don't have hops.
I felt like I was so high, and then this cunt just literally walks past and just takes it and just looks at me on the ground like, what are you doing?
And that was a sign of things to come.
That is where our paths significantly split.
That would have been you in the draft.
It could have been. It could have been. Those diverging paths.
But no, I'm talking about a game, and I wonder if this had any influence on you getting into that state team. I think it did from memory, but you obviously know better than me. But there was a game at first 18s level. I wasn't playing for whatever reason. I remember watching from the side. I must have been injured, but you had like a 55 possession game. And I remember me and my mates were just sitting there and literally counting his stats and going, what the fuck? Wasn't that like a game where that got you into the
Yeah, I think it definitely helped me getting into the state team. I think it was around that time, and there was some state recruiters and AFL recruiters at the game.
This was at school.
First 18. So in the college system here in Adelaide, like unless you're playing reserves football or sample level, private school football takes precedence over under 18 football. So, and like that was awesome because I think school footy for us, like we had such a good group, and we're all mates. Like school footy is the best footy or most enjoyable footy I've played up until this day, because you're playing literally with your best mates, like all of them. So yeah, college footy, first 18s at home. I think we're playing St. Peter's or Scotch, and I clearly had a good start to the game. And then I remember at 3/4 time, someone was saying you're close to 50. And like I was one of the better players. So people were just feeding me the ball. Like I didn't deserve 50 touches. People were just giving me the ball.
Just farming touches.
And then I remember being at 49 and I had my 50th touch. I didn't realize, and I heard like a whole group of boys just erupt. I went there like tip the bat. I mean, we had a good team, so we were winning by like 80 odd points at that point in time. But I think that might have been a catalyst to something a bit more substantial.
Yeah. No, I just remember it was not even fun to watch. There wasn't one contested possession. I'll tell you that. It would have been fun to play.
Probably a theme for my career, but it was good to be in.
All right, so we've spoken about now your lead up to the draft. So for those of you who don't know, you must have been living under a rock, but Jimmy went pick 4 to Melbourne in that draft. Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
We looked up the draft before. It was quite a good draft.
Yeah, it was pretty handy. Like Nick Voston and Lockie Whitfield just played their 250th game on the weekend.
Ollie Wines, Brownlow medalist in it.
Yep.
There's a few big names from that draft. Players that I thought that
we were surprised. There's some in the hundreds that are
like
really
Harry Cunningham.
And was he that draft as well?
Yeah, Jason Johannesson.
Oh, really? I was a year old. He must have been a mature age. Or maybe he's not. I don't know. Yeah, there was at the time, it was actually touted a super draft. And I know a lot of the top 10 players got delisted not long after that. But Jager O'Meara and Brad Crouch was supposed to be in that draft, but they were the under 17 pre-selection. So they would have been in that draft as well. Jack McRae, Jake Stringer, all Australian players. It's amazing.
Jonathan O'Rourke.
Joe Danaher. John O'Rourke. And Lockie Plowman picked 2 and 3. I mean, as juniors, they were stars. AFL footy's fucking hard work. So they came off the list. Joe Danaher, Brodie Grundy. Some fucking good players.
Yeah. And you mentioned AFL is hard work, and we're gonna get into that now.
Draft night, did you know where you were going?
Yep.
You did?
Yeah. It's funny, like when you literally just said then pick 4, like it's just funny what that did to like my emotions around like thinking about football, like talking about juniors and school footy. It's like elation, so much fun. And then as soon as you start bringing up that foot, it's like, shit. Yeah, it's just the way I feel about it. Just like my you know how you have just an automatic reaction to when someone raises something?
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, I was like, I know we're clearly going to talk about it, but it's like, oh, that sucks. Like that time sucks.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
But I hope you can channel those emotions.
Have a talk about it. It's just funny what it did to me. But no, yeah. So I did, yeah. So about a week before the draft, I thought I was going to go to GWS at pick 2. That's what they'd told my manager. And I was super excited. Like me and Lockie Whitfield were really close. We were in the AOS Academy team. We were talking about living together and in Sydney, and super, super excited. And then about a week before the draft, Giants called my manager and said, we're just going to take John O'Rourke and Lockie Plowman at pick 2 and 3. We want to keep, the Victorian boys together, which, in hindsight makes a lot of sense. At the time, I was fucking devastated. Like, called Lockie, mate, I'm not going to get drafted with you. This sucks. Melbourne had already told me that they rated me as the best player in the draft. So if they had picked 1, they would have taken me at pick 1.
Yeah, right.
They had pick 4, and there was a lot of talk around Jack Viney at that point in time was going to be father-son to Melbourne, and Ollie Wines and Jack were really close. So Melbourne, assuming that I was going to go pick 2, we're going to take Ollie. And then when they got wind that I wasn't, they called me up straight away, my manager straight away, and said, we're taking Jimmy at 4, which sort of people got wind of it, as the media do. And there was all this sort of commotion that Jack and Ollie weren't going to go to the same team, and no way they're going to pick Jimmy over Ollie. So Melbourne told me they were, and initially I was devastated. I'm like, I want to go to Giants. It wasn't personal to Melbourne. It was like, I want to go to Giants and be with Lockie and go to a young culture. And then I think after I considered it, I didn't really care where I went, and I genuinely meant that. Like I was so ready to move out of Adelaide and play football, and I going into the draft, I was able just to enjoy it because I knew where I was going to go. I had spoken to people from Melbourne already. Like I knew the coach, knew the head of football, and was just super, super excited about it. So I was able to, we went up to the Gold Coast, spent 2 days there with my family, and I just lived it up because I just knew what was going to happen. I was so calm. And then I just felt sorry for the other people in my draft who didn't know where they were going. Like Plug was one of them who had no idea he was going to get picked up to Richmond, and even get picked up at all. So I was able to enjoy it and have a great time with it.
In hindsight, it's, for me, I wonder, do you look back and go, fuck, I wish I got drafted there? Or like, obviously you would have had a completely different journey, but is that something you ever think about?
Well, I think that question can be applied to so many high draft picks, and it's so situational. Like Melbourne at the time, they were really, really struggling. Mark Neild was in his second year when I initially got there and got sacked halfway through that year. My first 3 games, Port Adelaide round 1, we lose by 15 odd goals. Round 2, Essendon, we lose by 130 points. And then round 3, West Coast, we lose by 120 odd. So my average losing margin in my first 3 games was like 100 odd points. Then I get dropped. And what that does to a 18-year-old's confidence and well-being, which I probably didn't understand at the time, like it put me back so far. So yeah, if I got drafted to Geelong or Hawthorn, who were really successful at that point in time, no doubt it would have been different. Who knows? I may have still got delisted after 6 years, but the stability at Melbourne at the time was not there and not conducive to develop young players, unfortunately. So yeah, it was really, really difficult. And yeah, possibly could have changed if I went somewhere else. But I learned. I remember being at the end of my first year, chatting to one of the psychologists there, and there's no way any other 18-year-old kid or first-year kid went through what us first-year players went through. So it held me in really good stead to build resilience. But what it did to my confidence from a football perspective, I don't think to this day, I don't think I've ever recovered from it. I still hold trauma from those days.
I was going to ask you, how have you sort of exercised some of those, not to use this phrase as a pun, but demons?
That's good. That's a good pun.
Because obviously if you went to GWS, the ladder position is not going to be too different. They're both struggling teams, but I suppose they're focused on development, whereas Melbourne are probably in a transitional phase, trying to get back up there, a bit quicker than GWS, I'd imagine. I didn't watch for it at the time. But yeah, I mean, how do you look back and not blame things on that and sort of, I don't know, just exercise that?
Yeah. And what are some of these demons as well, if you don't mind going into it?
Like I said, AFL footy is really, really hard. Like harder than I thought it would ever be. I thought I'd just go in being a high draft pick and transition in, no worries at all. So watching kids come in now, and this has been going on for a little while, who play AFL football and not even dominate, but just hold their spot, is so impressive. And I don't think the outside world actually appreciate how fucking difficult that is to do for an 18-year-old kid to come in and just play solid football. Like you look at the North Melbourne, like Finn O'Sullivan or Colby McKercher, like these young players who are literally playing really good AFL football, so fucking impressive. Like it's just ridiculous. So for me, I thought I'd do that and be able to do that. And when I wasn't doing it, I was like, well, this is it's me. I'm not good enough.
Okay.
And I think that was sort of the demons that I wasn't able to probably properly get over until like well after I was out of the system. 2020, 2021 was when I finally got to the point where I'd go to a game and feel comfortable. However I played, I just feel comfortable. If it was shit or good, I just wouldn't really care as long as we won. Up until that point, for the 8 or 9 years prior to that, I always struggled with confidence going out on the field, never really feeling like I actually belonged out there because of the expectation that was placed on me, both externally and internally.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Do you feel like being such a high draft pick is where that expectation came, or do you think just going into the AFL system, there is that expectation. Like when you went to Melbourne, did you feel like there was more of a pressure on you because of your pick as opposed to other players coming into the club?
Yes. But it was very situational.
Yeah.
So Melbourne at that time, 2013, I think 2 years prior to that, there was the infamous Geelong game where they lost by 160 odd points. There was just like issues all over the place. There was no stability from a coaching perspective. And when I mean stability, like it was a new coach that just replaced an old one. So they needed saviors. And me and Jack Viney were the saviors of the club. And, you know, Jack's gone on to play 200 games, BNF winner, like amazing. I just wasn't able to deal with it as well as he was. So yeah, 100%. It's situational, but yeah, it was very much Jimmy and Jack are going to come in and save this football club. They're going to be the future captains of the club. And I was a footy nuffy, as you know, and listened and watched and read everything. So every time my name was mentioned, I read it and knew about it.
Yeah.
And clearly not a healthy way to deal with football, particularly being in the bubble. So I knew everything that was being said, like everything. And when I wasn't performing, I fucking knew about it as well. And I didn't have the coping mechanisms at the time to deal with all the scrutiny around what came with that.
Yeah, right. It was interesting you say that you didn't personally have the tools. Was there any sort of support within the club?
100%. Yeah. So it's more sophisticated now, but Melbourne had an internal psychologist, which I got introduced to pretty early and needed. But it's difficult to engage with that stuff because, excuse me, you don't like understand it. Like as an 18-year-old kid, you don't know what a psychologist does. So you just go and have a chat with the guy and then you think he's going to fix you and then you go play shit footy on the weekend. You're like, fuck, you're not helping me. There was a few things I still remember around sort of appreciation, which still ring true. But there was absolutely support. Yeah, 100%. You just don't buy into that shit as an 18-year-old. You just want to go out and play football. And all the rest of it is sort of periphery.
How aware are the club of players' like struggles and like sort of, you know, are they in touch with a psychologist? Are they getting feedback going, this player needs this and this? Like, you know, was that shown to you?
Yeah, I don't know what was being communicated back to coaches and heads of at the time, or, you know, you're having a conversation with someone and that's all it is. I mean, I probably need to be careful in what I say in regards to my current role because I know the background of how shit works now. So I probably won't get into that. But from a personal experience, I remember in my first year, I think it was after a game in Darwin and Nildy had just been sacked. Neil Craig was the coach.
Yeah, that's right.
We're playing... was it Bulldogs or Brisbane? I can't remember who it was. Anyway, started the game and didn't get a touch in the first half. I literally did not touch the agate in half of football.
I've never had that experience.
It's the most fucked feeling you could ever imagine. Yeah. Didn't touch it. And then Craigie pulls me at halftime and just says, mate, you're starting in the middle. Like, just go get your hands on the footy and just try and enjoy it and whatever. So I think I had like 3 or 4 touches in the first couple of minutes of that game. And I was like, oh, thank God. Like, I've touched the footy. I'm okay. Had my first rotation. And this is when you had the red and green vest as a sub. And they gave me the red vest and I saw it and I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I thought if I'd touched the footy a couple of times, I was in the game. And they subbed me out. And there was vision of me on the bench, like crying, literally physically crying, and the camera's on me and the commentators are commenting about it. And after that game, I got brought in and just around like how seriously I was taking my football, because that's all I did. Like, I was in Melbourne. I didn't have any mates outside of football. I was so consumed by football and that's all I knew. And it had worked for me up until that point. They just said, like, you need some shit outside of footy. Like, you need to stop taking footy so seriously. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I'm here to play football. This makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
It's the last thing you want to hear.
Yeah, 100%. I just thought, this is what you do. So I'm a footballer. I have to dedicate literally 24/7. I've like learned, particularly now in my role at the AFLPA, that's like the last thing you absolutely need balance. And my athletic identity, like all I knew myself was as a footballer. So when I played poorly, it affected me so much worse than what like someone who might have been studying or doing some work placement or potentially even in Melbourne and had family to sort of bounce things. I had none of that. So for me, I went to the club, I came home, back to my host family, and that was it. It was all football. So yeah, shit really affected me. When things went poorly, it really affected me.
When you look back, is there someone that you look and you think, wow, that person was a real good support for me?
Yeah. With Jack Grimes, I mentioned, like really, really big support. Just like a well-balanced dude. He was captain of the footy club, obviously, but I guarantee you he never really saw himself. I mean, he dedicated his life to football, but I feel like his balance in his identity was more than just a footballer. Geordie McKenzie was another one who, again, he was in the leadership group when I got there, was never a superstar by any stretch of the imagination, but just like worked really hard, understood life outside of football, and just someone that really supported me through that time as well. That was from a playing perspective at Melbourne. So those two players I lent on a lot. Jack Trengrove as well, who I ended up living with in my third year. So I had some really good leaders at the football club, but we're all under pressure. So everyone was very insular at that time, trying to just address their own needs until sort of we had a change when Roosie came in my second year. Like the whole place was blown up after that for a good way. And then, it's 5-6 years later, they win a flag. But yeah, I had support there. But I think with your question before around like, do the coaches know everything? Everyone was so concerned about their own backyard that it was really difficult to support an 18-year-old kid who just didn't have the tools to deal with it himself. So yeah, and looking back now, that first year just did so much damage to my confidence, and I really struggled to make up for it later on.
It's interesting. It's interesting you say that, because looking on paper, you played 14 games that year. Most rookies don't see that much game time in their first year.
I think I was given a lot of those games as well. I was told 6 weeks before round one, you're going to play round one. Yeah. And I hadn't even trained fully because I had hip surgery the year before. Yeah. So they were going to play me no matter what. Yeah, okay. To try and provide some hope to the fans. Which is... has a whole nother issue in it, is a whole nother issue in itself. But yeah, I played 14 games. I played some like reasonable football at that point in time. But then the next year, I think I only played 4 games. Yeah. And the year after that, I only played 10. Yeah. So it just shows how far off I was actually playing AFL football. Like in those 4 and 10 games, I played some reasonable games, but I just struggled with consistency. And I felt like I almost had this sort of imposter syndrome where I'd play a really good game and be like, how did I do that? Like, what happened there? Right. How did I do that?
Did the confidence just get worse and worse, like over the years? Were there periods where you're
fluctuated.
Like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, it fluctuated. Like in my third year, I had a game where I had close to 30 and 2 goals in an AFL game. And I think I polled a Brownlow vote or 2. And then 2 weeks later, I got dropped. Yeah. Right. So it just shows like how fickle the AFL journey is. Like you can be, and we end up losing that game where I played well, but like internally I was like, oh fuck, I've sort of made it here. And then the next week I get subbed out, and then I play the next week, and then I get dropped after that. It's like fuck, that month of footy changed really quickly. Like how I was only there 4 weeks ago, I just felt like it wasn't me. So I really struggled with that, and yeah, the confidence was up, but then it just so quickly dropped. Yeah, right. And I couldn't. My balance of maintaining it at a particular level, I just didn't know how to do that.
It seems like earlier on in your AFL journey, we'll call it, you were backed into corners, and then that helped you. You were in the shadows, and then you were like, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to work my way out of this. Did you lean on that in the AFL? And like, how does that, because I can see that being difficult. I'd imagine everyone works a bit harder. So like, how do you overcome that? Or how did you overcome that?
I don't know the answer to that question, but I lent on that. Like, that's all I knew. Yeah. I got drafted at pick 4 because I worked harder than anybody else. And if you asked anyone at either Melbourne or Port Adelaide during the months of, call it October to March, there was no better trainer than me. Like, there was no better performer than me. Like, I dominated preseason.
So that didn't change?
No.
That's always been your
Yeah. But like, I knew I was fit, but I even like the match sim stuff. Like, I played so well. And I remember in my first trial game against Melbourne when I got traded to Port Adelaide, we were playing Melbourne at Centrals, and I played well. Like it was the last trial game, and I remember one of the Melbourne players telling me, like, because I was playing well that game, he like just trying to get stuck into me, and he said like, "Oh, here we go, Toumpas playing well in like preseason again," and like it rang true because I dominated preseason all the time, and I'd not win all the time trials, but get top few in the time trials, train really well, be really fit, like do all the running so well, and then get to games and it just blew up. And I knew I had the talent. Clearly I was talented enough, but I just could not translate that into match play for whatever reason. At AFL level, that is, I just really struggled.
And this is so interesting talking to you about this because I've always wondered how much of an impact the mental side of things actually has, because obviously you had the talent, number 4, like you don't get picked number 4 for no reason. And it's incredible how many players you see at that level that just don't find a way for some reason. Yeah. So I really appreciate you being candid about this stuff because this is really interesting to talk about.
Yeah.
So.
No, I don't think I've ever properly spoken about it. With some people I may have, but the mental side of things is the most underrated. I think it's becoming more understood, particularly in the last 5 to 10 years, as we understand as psychologists coming in, and every club has one now. So I think we do understand that part of the game, but it is the number one reason as to why a talented footballer doesn't make it in the system, and you see it all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really conscious of time, Jim. It's 10 past 3.
Flown by.
I know, and there's still so much to talk about.
Let's get stuck in. We got enough time. We got another 20 minutes. We can go right after the meeting.
All right, cool. Well, let's try it.
You've talked about going to Port Adelaide. You're coming back home. Did you request a trade?
It's sort of this like not to say that heaps of people are talking about it, but like there's this sort of misconception that I got delisted from Melbourne and then Port gave me this second opportunity, which is not the case. Melbourne had a deal for me. At that point in time, I thought it was better that I came home and Port wanted me. So I requested a trade and got that done. And I thought at that point in time, that was the best thing for my career. And it's funny how this sort of internal question every now and then, like, what if I stayed at Melbourne? Like, would my career be better off? Like, I don't know that. There's no point in living in that space.
No.
So I sort of moved on from that. But came to Port Adelaide and
what were you thinking when you came to Port? What's
before I got traded or after?
I guess after. Yeah. Sort of, are you back hungry, a bit more love for the game, or are you nervous? Am I still an imposter here?
Both. I don't think I ever lost the hunger. Like throughout my whole football journey, I've always had that hunger of like, I'm going to train harder than everybody and be better and whatever. I was certainly nervous about living up to some sort of expectation at Port Adelaide, and like I was just known a lot more here. And Adelaide is so much more of a bubble than Melbourne as well. Yeah, like you could be the 20th best player on the AFL list in Adelaide compared to Melbourne, but people would know you in Adelaide, whereas Melbourne, no one would know who the hell you were. So you'd walk around here and everyone would know who you are.
Right.
And I really struggled with that as well. Being around family definitely helped, and having like my own mates around me definitely helped. But yeah, I certainly still had that sort of imposter syndrome where I felt like I had to live up to something that I almost internally knew I probably wasn't. And yeah, my first year I played some okay football at AFL level and thought I'd probably got over the hump. And then in my second year, which is at Port, which is my 5th year in total, I pretty much played all SANFL football for the whole year. I think I only played 2 games at AFL level. But it was probably that point in time where I started doing work experience on my days off, started studying, and played the most consistent and best football I've played in my career.
So you started to get some of those outside avenues.
Yeah, it was interesting. And that was the light bulb moment or the aha moment when I was like, oh, if you actually engage in stuff outside of footy, it actually helps your football. And that's a message that I try and drum home to players who I deal with now in my current role. where they think all I need to do is focus all my time on football. And it's almost the opposite. Once you engage in stuff outside and sort of build your athletic identity to understand that you're more than just a footballer. Like when you play a poor game, which is inevitable, we're all going to play poor games, it doesn't detract who you are as a person. You don't feel worse about yourself. And it was probably that 2017 year where I had that, oh shit, like I'm playing as good a football as I ever have at SANFL level. Like I got a couple of AFL opportunities, but it was as consistent as sound in my game as I'd ever had been. And it was because I'd almost just released the shackles and still worked hard, don't get me wrong, but internally and from a mindset perspective, just engaged in stuff outside of footy, and it helped me beyond measure. I came second in the BNF at SANFL level. We made the granny, but lost to Sturt, and it started almost enjoying football again. It was funny how that played out.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that. And like I coach like junior level of soccer and stuff, and I see that a lot, is that attaching an identity to your performance. And that's something I struggled with playing footy and soccer growing up. Is that something, and we'll talk a bit more about your role later, but is that something you see with even players still in the AFL? Or even when you were playing, did you notice that within other players that was a real detrimental thing, the way people would attach their identity to a performance?
I definitely saw it when I was playing. I don't think I identified it when I was playing. It wasn't until I came out of the system.
Yeah.
And particularly educated myself on athletic identity post-career that I understood, that's what those players were doing, and this is potentially why they were really struggling. So, it was I unlearned it there and then, but I didn't sort of know what was going on. I just was experiencing it. But then it was like, upon reflection, looking back, I made a distinct change. It helped my identity. It helped my mindset and my well-being. And I'm 100% certain that's the reason why I play better footy. And I mean, we all learn better through storytelling. That's the story I tell players in my current role, and try and give them some sort of connection back to me as a footballer to hopefully help them be better footballers. Because that's like ultimately what we're there to do, is be the best footballer we can, but just understanding how all these different things collaborate at the same time.
Yeah, very interesting. Very important. Port. So you're talking about how you felt like you were playing really consistent footy. When you say that, you mean when you were playing SANFL at that point?
Yeah.
Why didn't that corroborate with coming back through the AFL team? Like, do you think that you should have been given more of an opportunity? Because when I look at your time at Port, you only played 10 games throughout that. Do you think you were stiff to not be given a better opportunity, especially if you were playing good footy in the twos? Well, I guess Port's a different beast as well, because they were doing well at the time as well.
I think we played finals 1 year out of the 3 I was there, so we were just we were just mid tier. I mean, obviously, I'm going to say yes. Clearly, I thought I was good enough to be playing AFL football at that time. There was a reason why I wasn't. And I think I can appreciate that. I was inconsistent in my contest, and that was obviously important to the game plan, and certainly wasn't good enough from that perspective. I struggled at AFL. There was still a barrier from an AFL perspective where I sort of had that imposter syndrome again, where I just didn't feel like I belonged out there.
Okay.
When I got to SANFL, I just felt like I was just more superior than everybody else at that level. So that assisted, but yeah, I really struggled on AFL game day. I just really, really struggled. It's the speed at which that game is played at is just really difficult to navigate. And if you're not switched on, which I clearly wasn't, but I think I just sort of appreciated that was where I was at from a footballing perspective, and I just probably just learned to just live with it and deal with it. And in my last year, the year I got delisted, I thought I had some really good football up until sort of midway through that year. And there was a point in time from a selection perspective where I thought, player came out, I was the next obvious person to go in, and I didn't get picked. So I think that was almost the writing on the wall, where it's like, I'm not getting picked now. I'm probably going to get chopped here. I haven't played. I'm out of contract. It's probably not looking good for me. So, lucky I had some things off field going on where I knew I'd be able to transition relatively well, and probably just came to accept it. And my attitude towards football in those last 6 months, 5.5 years later, if you told me that's where I was at, I would have said you're absolutely taking the piss. But I fucking hated footy at that point in time. Wanted nothing to do with it. And I was my well-being really, really struggled throughout that transitional period. Even though I knew I was going to be able to transition well in terms of job security, financially, I was going to be fine. I still struggled with the identity piece. Even though I was able to play good football because I had stuff going on, I still wanted to play AFL football, and I dedicated literally my whole life to being on an AFL list and making a successful career. When that gets taken away from you and it's not your choice, from a footballing sense, it's hard work. And I really struggled.
Well, talk us through that, because I'm interested. It seems like you had lots of emotions going on that year and leading up to your delisting. Were there conversations prior to that where you're like, all right, I know that this is the end, and how did you navigate that? But was there also, because it sounds like to me, and I could be wrong, but was there a bit of maybe relief as well? Like, were you like, I don't need to deal with this pressure anymore, I'm not in the AFL system anymore? Was there a bit of relief there at all?
Oh, yes and no, because I still wanted to be on a list.
Yeah.
So, yes, in a sense, again, upon reflection, I think subconsciously I was like, thank fuck. It's over now.
Yeah.
And I can just go back to playing CM football and enjoying that. But I still wanted to be on a list.
Yeah.
I essentially got told midway through that last year of my contract that I wasn't getting another contract. So I was being delisted from that point in time. So I knew it was coming. I went into the exit interview, which every player goes through at the end of the season, whether you're contracted or not. We're not giving you another contract. And I just, sort of a blur. I don't really know what happened after that. And then you sort of get on with life. But then I had an ankle reconstruction, and it was shocking timing because it was around the same time Sam Doherty from Carlton did his ACL. So Carlton actually were going to take me as a delisted free agent, or what's called at that point in time. But they found out that I'd had an ankle reconstruction. So they didn't end up taking me, which is fine. But I sort of had this drawn out hope, like, oh shit, I'm a chance to hang on here.
Yeah, okay.
And that didn't eventuate. So then I just signed at Woodville and started working full time, and life goes on. But I was prepared for it. It didn't help the conversation, didn't help my well-being at all. I think that back end of 2018, like from midway through to Christmas time, January, like I really struggled with seeing a psychologist quite often. And I was certainly not the person I am like now in terms of like energy, bubbly. Like I'm pretty happy, jovial, optimistic person. Like that was not me for a period of time.
Well, yeah, you're able to elaborate a little bit. That sort of the place you fell to at that point.
Well, I think just everything in my life, it just felt dark. And I think people with mental health challenges would understand that. Like there's no positive light on anything. No matter how happy you are, no matter what you're doing, everything just feels dark. And
your dream was crushed, right? Something that you worked so hard for.
Yeah. And I think I just had that feeling on everything of my life though. Like, so I literally transitioned into a full-time job straight away. Which not many AFL players do. Yeah. Like get a job straight away and almost the career they want. And I got that straight away. I went back to my home club. I had a house. Like I was set up, like externally looking in after 6 years, I was set up really, really well. None of it mattered at all because, the dream gets taken away from you. And I think the journey I went through in my AFL career, I just kept getting knocked down. And particularly being here in Adelaide, like a lot of shit gets spoken about players, which is as savage as anything. And it's just so unfair to what players have to go through. And it's more exacerbated now with social media. Probably wasn't as big socials back then. Yeah. But everything was just really dark. And you can look back on it now. And I think that's why sort of the proudest moment, like I was able to get through that really well. Well, I was able to get through it and transition really well. I don't know, when I was in the trenches of it, it was certainly really difficult. But I leaned on the people around me, friends, family, experts in that field as well. And I finally got to a point playing at Woodville where I started able to recapture that love of football again, and was able to start working in the industry again, which was really cool. But yeah, that period at the end of Port Adelaide, when I think about it, it's just dark memories.
It sounds like an interesting as like a narrative, like you did all this hard work to make AFL and then consequently you had to do all this hard work to navigate being out of AFL as well.
Yeah.
So it seems like the main sort of indicator of you as a person is what got you through both those significant parts of your life.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
100%. No, it's a very good point. When you think about it, it is. All I've known is sort of just you get to work. Like something happens, the only way you're going to get out of it is just getting to work and trying to find your way the best way you know how to with the tools you have in front of you. So, I was able to do that. It was really, really challenging. Like I think what gets missed in football is the transition that players go through when they're an AFL footballer to when they come out. And I think it gets spoken about a bit, but the stories we hear about are, the 300 game players who come out of the system and they're the ones everyone wants to know about. And you understand why. Like clearly they're celebrated players, but that's like a small percentage of players. It's the more common story is the one who gets delisted after 5 or 6 years and really fucking battles because all they wanted to do is play football from like 13 years old. Yeah. And that dream gets taken away from them and they're not prepared really for the outside world, whereas their mates might have done degrees or trades or podcasts or whatever it is. Like they've got a career outside of football and you come out of the system on the average age of like 23, 24 and you're like, fuck, what now?
Yeah.
And that needs to be spoken about more, I think.
Yeah, fair. Well, I'm proud of you, mate. Because
thanks, man.
No, legit. You've always been a great person, but I just feel like it's not easy to come out of that, especially as dark as you said you felt. And I completely can understand why you would have felt that way. But for you to like really build yourself back and do something like I think is really important. And I've said I've respected you like as a sportsman and athlete, but I think I respect you more now within your role that you're doing. Like, I think it's fantastic the support you're doing for AFL players now. Maybe you can shed a little bit of light of what you're doing now, what your role is.
I'm mindful I've got a meeting, but I can just be late to it. It's okay.
Okay, cool. That's what we want.
What I'm doing now? Yeah, so I'm working AFL Players Association, working with Port Adelaide and Adelaide players, current and past, and just player development is sort of our domain. We've got a heap of services that we can offer players, and I'm sort of the conduit between those services and the players. The AFLPA is best known for bargaining or negotiating the collective bargaining agreement. So, rights of the players, pay, things like the amount of boots they get, car parking at games, like that sort of stuff is what we're best known for. But I guess the work that I'm doing sort of in player development is around assisting players in their career to best set them up for when they transition out of the game. And that encapsulates a whole range of things.
And that seems personal to you as well. Which
I think that's
like a great
why.
role.
Yeah, I think that's why I wanted the job in the first place, and I think that's why I've really enjoyed it as I've gone through. Is because I've got a deep connection to it and understand the journey as well. So it's awesome the work we do. It's difficult because, like I said, I've lived the player of not wanting to do all the other shit outside of football. So trying to share that message and get players to buy into it, engage with it is really difficult. I understand why, because I've lived it, but I think it puts me in a good position to succeed with them as well. So we do some really cool shit. And certainly love it.
No, that's awesome, man. That's a role I wish I was in, to be fair.
I was just going to say, having that lived experience must be so crucial to the role. I can't imagine AFL players would take a non-AFL player in that role very seriously.
It's a very good point because we have a few. So there's one of me, I'm a regional manager. We have one of me in each non-Victorian state and then 3 in Victoria. And there's, I think, 4 of us that are ex-players and the other ones are non-AFL players. And those non-AFL players, like they talk about the challenges they have when they go into clubland and they just struggle to connect with the players and actually engage with them. Whereas, the conversations I have, everything that an AFL player goes through, I guarantee I've gone through it. I've ridden the highs of it, being a really high draft pick and fucking meeting some cool people and getting endorsements and getting walked into VIP places. I've lived that shit, but then I've been delisted and being on the back end of a list. So I get it. And yeah, you can relating to players on a personal level is the biggest part of our job.
Are you providing any sort of support? Like, do you ever see a player spiraling and you're going, I know where this is going? Like, and can you step in? Is there anything you can provide?
Yes to both. Yes. Yeah. Without, obviously talking into specifics, you see it literally all the time.
Yeah.
And this time of year, what are we like? Or July, August, 6-7 weeks out from the season, players who are out of contract are wondering if they're going to get another contract and what that means. So I think this time of year for certain players is really challenging. And I think because I've lived it, I can identify it from a long way away. You can sort of see those players and how they're going at Clubland. So the biggest part of our job is relationship building and gaining trust from the players. I think I've been able to do that. So in terms of stepping in, 100%. That's my job, is to step in and assist them and make sure they're like capable when that
time
tap on the shoulder comes. Hey, well, you're not getting a contract.
That must fulfill you, right?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And the person in my role previous to me was the person who actually helped me when I got delisted. So yeah, I understand the value that my role can have on people. And it's certainly fulfilling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a quick one to wrap up, mate.
Can we talk about golf? I haven't talked about golf yet.
Well, we haven't spoken about golf. Do you want to speak about golf?
Yeah, is that a self-care thing for you?
No, not really. I just wanted to bring it up because I'm playing really good golf at the moment.
Jimmy plays golf. His short game's not good. I've beaten him in a pitch and putt many a time and mini golf.
One final win for you before we wrap it up.
But that was a while ago.
Let's move on from golf.
Yeah, okay. What's your handicap again?
14.2.
It's pretty good. So he's getting better. That's what I'm learning.
Yeah.
I want to wrap it up with one question. And you brought it up before, like sort of the judgment that players receive in AFL, especially when they've not sort of met an expectation, right? So like success is this weird word for me. Like it's a marker that's usually subjective, but it's like always applied to someone else and they have to fulfill it.
Especially in sports.
Yeah, especially in sport. So like my question really is, how do you value your success? And I put quotation marks like in your career. Is there like because obviously if in the AFL are judging you based on your pick and are probably looking at going 37 games, you're not the standard marker of success. But are you at a point in your life where you can look back and go, you know what, I fucking achieved something great for myself? Is there like a personal success where you don't listen to that anymore? Because I feel like that'd be hard in your position.
Yeah, it took me a while to get to that point. To be able to talk about my AFL career in a way where I feel comfortable with it. Like it took me a while to get to that point. And I think everyone says, oh, you played AFL. Everyone wishes they could do that, but only so few do it. It's like, yeah, fine. That's
mustn't be much comfort.
It's not really. It's a cool thing that I was able to achieve. But I think, like I said before, I was able to transition in a way where I'm mentally healthy, financially stable, have healthy relationships with the people that I care about, and now have sort of a career to proceed onto. That's the measure of success. And I'm still I feel like I'm still a good person. Like the AFL, and it's no real fault of the player, but the industry changes people. Like 100%. All the factors that go into it changes people. And I don't think I've fundamentally changed as a person. I'm still Jimmy, who I was when I was 17. And I truly believe that. So for me, that's the measure of success. I was able to come out of the system relatively banged up physically, but mentally and emotionally and all the rest of it, okay. And I'm really comfortable and content with my football career and who I am as a person. And I think that for me is the measure of success. And I think if you ask a lot of ex-players, some may be different who have 200 games careers and they can look on their AFL career fondly and that's sort of their measure. But a lot of us who don't have that type of career, the transition is almost and it's still going for me. I'm 5-6 years out of the system and I'm still transitioning out of the game. That'll probably be ongoing.
I think that's important to touch on.
Yeah. I think that's a measure of success for a lot of people, and maybe not for a lot of people. I don't know, but for me, that's the way I look at it. And I'm probably a little bit biased because I'm of the role that I'm in at the moment, and understanding how difficult it is for footballers. They just don't get the credit they deserve as people and what they go through. And a lot is mentioned about how much they get paid. Like from my perspective, they're severely underpaid, and that's I know it's controversial to a lot of people, but being a footballer, it's privilege. Don't get me wrong; you have a lot of responsibilities as well. But it's fucking hard work. And a lot comes with being that type of in that occupation.
It being under the microscope is not something that the everyday person experiences. So
and the physical toll that it takes on your body as well. That footballers get feedback. It's not often any employer has to go to their boss or their manager on a weekly basis and get feedback every single week. And a lot of the time as a professional athlete, it's negative.
Yeah, of course.
So you're getting negative feedback literally every week. There's obviously positive stuff in and amongst that, but I challenge anybody to put themselves in that circumstance and see if you're able to deal with that in a positive manner. Like, it's fucking hard work.
And I'm sure you're still working on things that from what you've experienced in the AFL system.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've always struggled with taking feedback on and not personalising it. I still struggle with that to this day. You become you do develop a thick skin coming out of the system. I guarantee you, footballers are better at taking feedback than most people are, and crave that feedback as well because that's all you're sort of used to. But still not personalising it. A lot of players are really good at it. I really struggled with it.
Yeah. All right, Jimmy. Thank you for that. I feel like I've learnt more about you. I feel like our audience has now too. But we want to end our episode today with a new segment we've created, right? We're calling it the Gauntlet.
Time to run the gauntlet.
Have you ever seen Sam's drip tray on the front bar?
Don't just say that. Yes. It's probably trademarked.
Yes, I have.
Well, this is why we call it the Gauntlet.
When did you create the Gauntlet?
Today.
Nice.
Yeah. Basically, it's if you've kept up with the podcast, which I know you have, you're an avid listener, you'd know why we called it the Gauntlet. But anyway, it's going to be a series of just rapid fire questions.
Yep.
The first half anyway is really rapid, and then we'll get into more like lengthier answers. But yeah, it's just to know a bit more about you.
Okay.
But for the first section of this, we sort of want to pin. So Alex and I on the podcast, it's been a bit of a been a bit of a debate between Adelaide and Melbourne. All right, we have a fierce rivalry.
Right.
Which city?
Who's winning?
Probably me at this stage. I think
he's just got the bigger ego, so it always feels like he's winning.
I fight more passionately for Adelaide, but I feel like I have to because Adelaide's the underdog.
You're like the younger brother,
But we thought you'd be the perfect guest as a neutral who's lived in Melbourne and Adelaide.
Yep.
You can sort of fix this debate for us.
So it all comes down to you.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
All right. So should we just go?
How expansive am I on these gauntlet answers?
Just Melbourne or Adelaide.
Oh, okay. So right.
We
I
asked
like
you.
it. I like it. Okay.
And then we're going to get into more of like a profile.
Okay. You set it up. Let's go.
But we'll see. There you go. Thanks, mate.
Shut up.
Do you want to just go one for one?
Yeah, go on.
Because I don't want him to listen to my voice the whole time. All right.
Get my list.
First one, pretty simple. MCG or Adelaide Oval?
Oh, that's really tricky. MCG.
1-0.
For different reasons though, but I won't expand on
that. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got into that already. Coffee.
Adelaide. Well, I never drank coffee in Melbourne, so
that's not fair. Null and void. Null and void.
I'm going to keep a tally here, actually. 1-1. All right. Best Greek food.
Melbourne.
Oh, I thought the family status here would have given that.
That's if my family were in Melbourne, it would be Melbourne.
Fuck.
But that's not part of my answer. It's because they have better Greek food.
Yeah, it's not looking good early. Next one.
General vibe as a city.
Adelaide.
Hell yeah.
It's going to be level there. You're going to make it sit on the fence.
This one's an interesting one, and feel free to elaborate on this one if you want. Nightlife.
Oh, you know I'm not a massive nightlife type of person, Carmen.
Yeah, I know.
I would say Melbourne.
You say Melbourne?
Yep.
The only correct answer there. Weather.
Adelaide. It's a ridiculous.
It's probably
question.
an easy.
It's a ridiculous question.
I purposely left out traffic.
Tram safety protocols.
I don't know.
This is one for you.
Wait, was that an actual question, Carl?
Yeah, we've got it here. I feel like it's,
Have you guys debated that? Have you guys?
do you want us to bring this up? Because I did want to bring it up. at some
Legally, he
stage.
can't.
Wait, what?
Exactly. Stick with that.
Yeah, okay. Jimmy had an incident with a tram in Melbourne, and we'll leave it there. DM us if you want to know the full story.
Footy fans.
Melbourne.
Good answer.
Golf courses.
It has to be Melbourne.
Even though he had his darkest day at a course in Melbourne where he famously lost to an Englishman.
I would absolutely torture you right now. Anyway.
We've already spoken about Jimmy's golf endeavours.
Have you?
Sorry, yeah.
On a previous pod?
No, in the pod we just did. Because remember,
don't
we're
remember
doing
that
this at the end.
Thought you meant you two have.
No.
Sorry.
BT or Bruce McAvaney?
Bruce.
Yes.
Adelaide's coming back.
Torrens or the Yarra for swimming in.
The Yarra is just more picturesque. It is.
I like Jimmy.
VB or West End? We'll just say beer in general.
None.
I know you don't like beer, but
No, I don't hate beer. I just hate both of those two beers.
all right,
Yeah,
well,
open it out. Think broadly.
Adelaide.
Yeah, good call.
Scenery in general.
Adelaide Hills and down south here in Adelaide is beautiful.
What's
We're
the
at
scores? 6-6.
So these next ones are important.
Diplomatic.
Speaking of diplomacy, political representation.
I love Mallee. I'm all about Mallee. So Adelaide.
A Mallee for those not from SA.
Peter Malinowskis.
There you go. Got to go with a fellow Greek there, obviously. What have we not done here? We're getting close.
Yeah.
Run routes.
Yeah.
We know you're an avid runner. You spoke about that earlier.
Adelaide for sure. Our coastal line is far more beautiful.
Adelaide's running away with it as well, mate.
Cut this segment.
Economy.
What part of the economy? What do you mean?
Just the economy in general. Where have you felt, more financially stable?
Adelaide is a far more feasible city to live in. So Adelaide.
Yep. Cost of living. Bang. These are important questions.
What have we got left? Barbers.
More options in Melbourne.
I know why you said that.
Is there a story here?
Is there a story here?
Well, I remember you mentioning that you were really stiff one day, that you used to get free haircuts from a particular barber in Adelaide, and that privilege may have got taken away.
It's not a bad story, that one.
Yeah, please tell us.
So Robbie Gray opened a barber shop called The Fellow Barber, still running here in Adelaide. And I was playing at Port Adelaide at the time, and all Port Adelaide players would get a free chop when you went there. And I distinctly remember, me actually getting the chop from Port Adelaide, and then went there to get a haircut, and just not even thinking about it, and just so accustomed to the fact that 3 years I hadn't been paying for haircuts.
Developed a relationship with this guy, I bet.
Yep,
yeah.
and I'm not going to name him. And I finished the haircut, just like start to stroll out or make my way out. And he goes, "Oh, Jimmy, that's $40, mate." I was like, "Oh."
He should have charged you about $700 as well.
So much. It was the biggest hit to my ego ever. It was actually before the Port Best and Fairest. So I'd already been chopped before the Port Best. So there was like 3 or 4 other Port boys in there getting their haircut at the same time who had contracts remaining. And they just got free haircuts, and I'm there like an idiot paying. So
he was the first to find out about the delisting.
He probably was. I think it was publicly announced already. Like they had already announced that I'd been chopped. Anyway,
kick you when you're down.
So Melbourne for sure.
Well, we appreciate that story, but unfortunately, that doesn't help Melbourne's final outcome here, mate. Because
We'll keep
Adelaide
this
are the
segment
winners,
going.
according to
Let's
Jimmy
go.
Toumpas. Fuck yes.
Incorrect.
That's the end of our little gauntlet. But we've got a few other questions here, just as general knowledge for the footy nuffs, really.
Non-state of origin based.
Right.
So, and try and maybe not think about it too much because we don't have much time. But give us the best game you played in general.
I played.
Yeah. That you
Personally,
played
or the
in.
best game I played in.
Yeah, well, which the
most
best
memorable
performance for you? Do you
AFL
think?
sample.
Any?
The 3 grand finals for Woodville.
Just pick one, mate. It's the best one.
2020 grand final against North Adelaide.
Do you have a best AFL game? One that you remember?
Yeah. My first Queen's birthday game, Collingwood versus Melbourne. I think it was like 80,000 there. I played okay. I wasn't anything special, but I think just the atmosphere of the game, being involved in a game like that was just out of this world.
What's been more nerve-wracking, playing 80,000 people or being on this podcast?
It's close.
I reckon it's close.
I really like the sound of my own voice, so I'd say playing in front of 80,000 people.
Who's the best player you've ever played with?
Oh, it's a great question. Travis Spoke.
Like technically or just all round?
All round. All round. Yep.
And on that note, best spray or sledge from a coach or an opposing player?
That's $40 a year, Jim. That's a pretty good one.
He didn't even mean it. I got told by Mark Neild in my first or second year. It wasn't just me. This is a few of us that I can't remember the exact words. I'll paraphrase, but he took the piss out of us essentially for running more Ks and getting disposals.
Wow.
And I did that often. I did that a lot. I run a lot of Ks and didn't get the ball very much in my first couple of years. So he just literally took the piss out of us. Looking back, it was hilarious and it was pretty accurate at the time. But that was probably something that rings true in my memory. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Mark Neild, shout out.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mark Neild, who's the best coach you've played under?
Mick Godden.
Mick Godden, Eagles.
Yep.
Hasn't had a crack at AFL level, has
He's
he?
at the Crows at the moment, sort of heading up their
Good knowledge,
program.
Carmen.
No, I mean as a coach.
He hasn't headed up.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably personal, but I had some great coaches, but I think personally, what he did for me in my career and going back so long ago, I would say Godsey.
Interesting.
Funniest player you've played with?
Funniest
Or
player.
funniest bloke in the change rooms?
I'll come back to you. I can't remember.
He looked at me then.
Yeah,
I was trying to help
We'll
me
get
out
to
here,
that
Carmen.
one.
I'm sure I've told you stories before.
Most inspiring
Player?
Yeah. Or sort of someone that's wrapped their arm around you, was a bit of a mentor, role model.
Yep. Jack Grimes.
Oh, yeah.
Skipper at Melbourne when I first got there. Really helped me out. He was awesome. In terms of inspiring, as in I just drew inspiration from them. Boki would be up there, just in terms of the character he is, and how hard he actually trained.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Amon is another one who was actually a close mate of mine, but also just drew inspiration from him. He had some really difficult physical issues when he was younger, and to do what he did in his AFL career and still playing really good football, certainly drew inspiration from him as well.
Yeah, nice. One more really for me. Have you got any more there?
I've got one good one to end.
All right. Well, I've got the highlight of your career or life. We don't have to be too footy orientated here.
Yeah.
Something you're really proud of from your life.
I think the way I was able to transition from being an AFL player to a non-AFL player.
That is a fucking great answer.
Yep.
And a bit more of a light-hearted one from me. Best teammate in juniors that was under 5'5".
Play with a guy called Christian Scateri.
I didn't even get it.
It's a short list, quite literally, and Carmen's still not made the cut.
5'3".
And Croatian Italian.
Oh, narrows it down a bit.
That's it for our
Gauntlet.
Yeah, well, the next part of the gauntlet. Oh, have you thought about a player hardest to play against?
But hardest to play against?
No, funniest.
Funniest.
Or best banter or,
Hardest to play against was Jared McVeigh from Sydney. Tagged him.
Yeah, right.
Attempted to tag him once and he was just, like, his footy IQ was just as good as I've ever seen.
Yeah, okay.
The funniest, I don't know.
Or a couple. Is there a couple?
As you know, Carmen, I don't laugh very often, so
No.
I don't find many people. Don't find many people very funny. Jake Comgiani from Woodville, I'd say he's the funniest.
Yeah, right. Fair enough. Might have to get him on the pod. That was a bit funnier.
He can host if he wants. Jimmy, thank you so much for your rawness, your vulnerability, and sharing your story with us and our listeners. We do like to end the show with a song of the week. We add that to our playlist, which you can find on our socials. What's a song of the week from you? Is this an artist you love? Is this a song you love?
When Carmen asked me to think about this, there's only one song that came to mind.
It's Swing by All American Rejects because of his golfing.
It's not my favourite song, but I think it's a song that I played literally before I stopped when I got delisted, but every game before I got drafted and every game when I was in the system, like SANFL, VFL, AFL, put my headphones in and played this song.
Like pre-game ritual.
Pre-game. It just got me up and about. Gym Class Hero is the fighter.
Gym Class Hero is the fighter.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought that was the reason? Maybe you should have changed songs.
You're not wrong. I started playing good footy after that. Just got me G'd up, Alex. That doesn't mean I played good football, but I felt good after it.
The state of his ego is he's listening to a band with his name in it. Gym Class Hero.
All right, can we wrap up now?
Nah, mate, I really appreciate your time. You've gone above the time that you allocated us, so I appreciate it.
Sorry to whoever you're meeting with.
I love you, mate. And if this doesn't send our podcast into the stratosphere, I'll be very disappointed.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate.